Let's see if that changed it. Let's go back in here. Live streaming. See what it looks like on my live stream now. It's still fuzzy, but I think once it encodes, I think that's because of yeah, it's that low latency. I can't change it right now. Okay, so let's go in here and we're going to talk about what first? Proposal. So if I come into the syllabus and I say, all right, so I got these different proposals, which one do you want to talk about?
We can do.
They're all very similar, so which one?
I'll start with the first one.
You want to do research? Okay. So we'll come into the research proposal and it's going to tell me what all I need to do. So there's this document right here that's going to give you kind of an outline of the proposal. All right. So the first thing you need to do for this is think about what your idea is. How cool is the idea to you? Again, you're only competing against yourself. I don't want you to sit there and say, well, I think Flynn might like this. Because I got news for you. I like everything. There's very few things that I don't like. So this isn't about me, this is about you. I want you to pick something that you're interested in. Alright? It's gotta drive you to completion. Meaning you want to be all in on this thing. You're here for a reason. You chose to go to an advanced program. Right? So you really want to make sure that you're going to enjoy it. And don't be afraid if you get into it and you're like, this kind of sucks. To scrap it, let me know, because I'm going to approve your original thing. Let me know what your new idea is. We'll talk about it, make sure it's not too big or anything. And then go from there. What's your general timeline? For every one of these, based on that big Excel sheet when it's actually due, I want you to develop this week by this day, I'm going to have this done. This week by this day, I'm going to have this done. This week by this day, I'm going to have this done. All right? So this is just a basic template for all of them. But let's go down to the research project and talk about that. So with the research, what is the topic and why are you interested in it? I want that into the proposal. What are the keywords that you're going to do when you research? So you got that other stuff above that you got to talk about, but this specifically with the research. So just because you know how to use Google doesn't mean you know how to research appropriately. Google's not sophisticated enough to be able to look outside of the domain of the keywords that you're plugging into it. All right? So as you begin to research, you need to think about what are keywords that are associated with my topic. So I'll give you an example. Let's choose augmented reality, because I think augmented reality is just the cat's meow. I think in 15, 20 years, we're going to be using it all the time. All right, maybe soon. So where, Charles, is one place that augmented reality can be used? You do know what augmented reality is, right? You do know what augmented reality is? Neither of you know what augmented is. So write that in your notes.
Yeah.
Do more research on augmented reality. And then I'll show you some augmented reality. Somewhere, maybe. Okay, so this is augmented reality, guys. Right? So I got my camera, and then this is a space. This is called Skyview. Okay, cheap little program for the iPad. And then what you do is you take this thing out at night, and you start looking around the sky. Now we all know that the sun. So there's the moon. So if we went out, whoa, where'd you go, moon? No, that's Uranus. See, we keep looking around. There's the exit sign. Keep looking around. Let me see. So there's Venus. Venus would be right over there. If we're out at night and we start looking around, let me see there's the Hubble telescope. So the Hubble telescope is on the other side of the planet right now, looking straight down. It's an International Space Station that's straight underneath of us right now, right? So that's augmented reality. Let me see. And then I could come in and I can say, what's this? This kind of thing. Show me. Solar system. Moon. Solar system. Moon. And then notice how, see that arrow?
Mhm.
Moon!
Wow.
If we went out right now, there should be a little sliver of the moon out there. You want to go check it out? Let's go see how
it looks like.
Come on, let's go see if there's a sliver out there.
Yeah.
Cool?
Yes.
All right.
So.
So if you choose augmented reality, where are other places, now that I've given you this, where are other places that we could use augmented reality in our daily lives? How about in our daily lives or in other professions? Where could it help out?
I didn't get the pictures on that. I saw some pictures on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
What are they?
Well, that's that combination, right? Computer generated with the photos, right? With the camera knowing what we're looking at, taking into consideration, one of the reasons it's not quite as accurate on that is that doesn't have a GPS sensor. That was my iPad that doesn't have a GPS sensor in it. So it did okay, but notice how it was off by a little bit. Like it was off by a couple minutes when you look at the sky. But it still got us pretty darn close, didn't it? To that, right? So that's the idea of augmented reality. We take computer-generated images and overlay it with what we're looking at through a camera lens. So what are some ideas of where we could use that then?
I think we can also use it in weather forecasting.
With weather forecasting? How would we use it in weather forecasting?
Like
without knowing how the weather is going to look like over the week,
Okay.
we can actually use this one to see if it's going to rain through, or it's going to be sunny throughout the week. You know, also understanding the humidity and the temperature.
Okay. So that's a cool idea, but augmented reality is meant to be a little bit more real time than that, right? Think about how instantaneous that was. We used it for now, in the moment, right? So we could certainly do that. We could walk outside, and if somebody had goggles on, we could say, this is what it would look like if it was raining, or this is what it would look like if it's snowing. And if it was sophisticated enough, it could pick up like the leaves and put snow on the leaves as you look around, right? At nighttime, with the full moon,
Right.
right? So it's meant to be a little bit more real time than what you're thinking with the weather forecasting. But I just made it real time.
Yes.
What would it look like in the middle of summer with snow at night in a full with all the leaves? And if the device was powerful enough, it would actually be able to render that. That's a lot of edges. That's a lot of computing power. So what are some other things, though, that we could do? With augmented reality.
It has to be a real-time event.
You want it to be able to enhance your real-time, whatever you're doing, whatever you're using it for. It could be games, it could be professional, medical, law, police.
So I know the Xbox gaming console is got a Kinect where you can have someone playing like a virtual tennis game and have like a camera, like you can play, and this stuff is instantaneous.
Right.
I don't know if it's kind of related to augmented reality.
How could you do that with augmented reality then? What if instead of the virtual reality of augmented reality? Because the virtual reality is you don't see what's around you. That's virtual reality.
What about that device they have in the airport where they see where the bag passes through security check? And
There you go.
They check on it.
That'd be kind of cool, right?
Like,
What if everybody was walking around with special X-ray glasses? All the security officers did that. What if the security officers had virtual or augmented reality on, and as it walks around, because it's difficult to spot everybody but facial recognition. Now it doesn't tell you every single person per se, but it recognizes a particular face and says, we should flag this dude.
But
That's
even-
scary shit to me.
Even an object that you carry with you.
Yeah, an object. It helps identify an object that you as a human being might not otherwise see. Maybe it identifies a pattern, maybe incorrectly, underneath of somebody's shirt. It sees and says maybe that's a gun, and it alerts them to
security.
the presence of that. What about a mechanic? Think of this. You're a mechanic working on an engine. And you're okay with this particular make and model, but you're not an expert. I got my augmented reality on. I call my buddy, who picks up a FaceTime-like look. But it's what you're looking at, right? Your buddy, so you're seeing the engine compartment. Your buddy can see what you're seeing. Where is the alternator? I don't know, I'm not a mechanic. Where is the alternator? Joe, where's the alternator? Joe, 1,000 miles away, draws on his screen where the alternator is. Now, you are looking in the engine compartment and you see a circle show up where the alternator is. And no matter how you
You
move,
can see.
the circle is right there. That's augmented reality. What about when it gets to the point in healthcare for a surgeon? A surgeon is in surgery doing a bypass on a heart, right? Has goggles on, or a nurse has goggles on that does augmented reality assist, right? It spots things. It says, hey, look, there's the possibility of a tumor over there. We didn't notice that before. In real time. Picks it up, shows it on the augmented reality, and says it's right there. So augmented reality, I think, is really, really cool. I think it's going to surpass virtual reality. I think it already has. And it has unlimited applications.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, is this same application like is similar to where like a pregnant a woman goes to like hospital like to check the baby and they have something like close to the stomach and they can see pretty much how the baby is doing?
It would depend on what type of sensors. We don't have any sensors that can do an ultrasound like you're talking about from a distance. So it would have to be more visual, or if we equipped it like with an infrared sensor or something like that. Imagine firefighters walking into a fire. Fire is everywhere. Everything's a hot spot to the human being. But if you have an infrared sensor on there, you can tell that there's a lot of heat buildup behind that wall over there to the point that maybe there's going to be an explosion. Human being, we can't see that. But if we have augmented ourselves with additional sensors to pick some of this stuff up, it can alert us. It can say, hey, whoa, whoa, be careful. Behind that door, it's really, really hot. And if you break it down or whatever. See what I'm saying?
So, with ultrasound and augmented reality, they're two different things?
Well, an ultrasound is kind of like what you're talking about.
Yes.
It peers in and it'll image the baby,
Yes.
and give you an image of the baby. But ultrasound requires contact because it's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
They put ultrasound waves into the mother's belly, which enables you to be able to image that baby. It's literally being reflected back with a bunch of microphones that create that image.
So in augmented reality, there is no need of contact, having a contact with your brain.
No, I mean, augmented reality, I mean, I guess it could be. You know, if you got it, you'd have to still put that on there, and it could be, but give me a little better idea.
Yeah, because I was so like the way you took an iPad and like putting it up to the sky, being able to see the moon and different like the other planets. That was so cool.
It is cool.
Yeah, you don't have to like stay close to the
You
moon.
should check it out tonight when it's actually dark. Walk it, download it. It's free. There's a free download. Download it. Yeah, it's called Skyview. Download it and you can go play with it. It'll help you identify constellations, planets, stars, nebula, different satellites as they're floating around, International Space Station, anything that's in space. Pretty cool. So anyways, you're going to pick your topic. I want it to be interesting to you. I wanted to relate back to web development, and quite frankly, anything can relate back to web development today. All of these apps are together. They're integrated together, right? Skyview integrates with the web. Stuff is flowing across. We got to develop it, so on and so forth. What are the different keywords? So if you're going to do augmented reality, you could do augmented reality medical purposes, augmented reality law enforcement. Those are the key words. And obviously you don't have to keep writing this out, but those are the key words that help us explore beyond typical augmented reality. How are other people using it? The mechanic thing I told you about, that's real. They actually have that technology using augmented reality. Or the mechanics looking at the engine and somebody else can help them identify whatever needs to be replaced. Where are you pulling your scholarly peer-reviewed work from? I want you to be getting it from peer-reviewed journal articles. There's a video up there. You can watch the video. It's found under Files. I've placed it, I think, in this. We'll go back and look. I think I placed it there. You should watch it. I talk about the peer review journal process because I've gone through it several times. It gives you a better understanding of why it's important to do that. Why it's important to read those instead of some article that some English dude. See, I put it like that. That really hit home with you, didn't it? When you start thinking and that's oftentimes when you're getting familiar with a topic, you read Wikipedia, you read those popular articles, so you can begin to understand. But when we go deeper, which is what this program is about, then you got to start reading the peer-reviewed journal stuff. These are the people that are creating it. These are the people that are out there experimenting with problems. For example, if I'm looking at an engine compartment dead on, and I'm always looking at it the same way, that's pretty easy. I could take a fixed camera, put it on the top of the hood, dial in with a buddy with FaceTime or something else, and say, show me the different things, and over here I have a screen that shows his annotations on that video. But what happens as a human being is I move?
You have to move to move yourself.
And I move again. Those annotations still have to point to the appropriate place in the engine compartment. Those are problems that we explore with this stuff. How do we do that? That's where all the computing power comes in too. That computer has to be able to effectively make, in real time, a 3D model of whatever it's looking at. Think about that. It's like instantly scanning that to try to make a 3D model to be able to translate what the other person put onto the image they were looking at, wherever it was. So anyways, I want you to watch that video. It's only about a 10-minute video. I'll walk you through everything. In your proposal, then, you need to discuss 3 to 5 peer-reviewed papers that you've looked at. So you got to go out to ResearchPort through Frostburg. I'll show you how to get there through that video, or I can answer tomorrow if you can't figure it out. And I want you to talk about those. I want you to give me a little summary. That starts your annotated bibliography. Now, I have this idea. I think it's neat. I've done a little bit of research to reinforce that I think I like this idea enough to keep reading additional papers and continue to do my annotated bibliography to do this presentation. Right? That's what it's about. You gotta start researching now. Now, you don't have to read the whole paper, by the way. On any given paper, you read the abstract. If you like the abstract, you read the introduction. If you like the introduction, you read the conclusion. If you like all of that and you need more information, then you read the middle sections. Oftentimes, you can skip the methodologies because you're not reproducing the work. So oftentimes you can skip the methodology. But oftentimes, the results and stuff, you want to kind of skim through some of that stuff. But just reading the abstract, the introduction, and the conclusion will tell you, is this paper good enough that I want to include it into my knowledge, into my research presentation? If not, you throw it out. If you get out done the abstract, and you're like, nope, that's not at all what I thought it was, you don't read it. Now the other thing is, we're in a very cutting edge field. So outside of 1 or 2 papers to fill you in on the history of something, you shouldn't have anything that's dated older than 2 or 3 or 4 years. If it's older than that, that's not very relevant. One of the first papers I wrote is completely irrelevant today. My dissertation, pretty much irrelevant. I completed it in 2009. Yep, pretty much irrelevant to me. Now I could update it. So that's what you'll do there. There's a lot of different things, so that's what you're going to do, a lot of different things. And then the line, whoops, I'll come that one down here. Where'd I go? And then a conclusion, you're going to sum up everything, that typical conclusion. Number of hours you think you're going to put into whatever the project is. And then you're going to do the same thing for the other ones. All right? You could create another proposal. The proposals are one page. That's a lot to fit into one page. Right? If you spill over a little bit, that's fine. But you want to keep it to about a page, single-spaced. All right? You can do single-spaced. All the stuff at the beginning, including a timeline for the Android project, taking into consideration the final due date and stuff like that. Right? What type of app do you intend to develop? Is it going to be a medical app? Is it going to be a game? Is it going to be an augmented reality game? Is it going to be an augmented reality app that does something like, oh, this is cool. Let me show you this. What do I want to do it on? I'll do it on this. This is way good. This was designed for people that are blind. It's called Microsoft Seeing Eye. You might want to write this one down because it's wicked.
I'll check it out.
Seeing AI. I'm sorry, Seeing AI. Microsoft Seeing AI. This thing is weird. Watch this. Person. Ready?
One face near top edge 1 foot away. Person. Processing. 28-year-old man with black hair looking at me.
Jesus Christ. That's my age.
Is it really?
Yes.
Go
28.
Want to try it?
Yeah, let me try.
0 faces.
Notice that. 0 faces.
One face near top right 1 foot away. Processing.
Hey, I take a picture.
28-year-old man with black hair looking
It
at me.
says 28.
Wow, how did you get like 20? Wow, that's like real.
Let's see what it does for me.
0 one face near bottom edge 2 feet away. Processing. 51-year-old man with brown hair looking at me.
51! But it's not far off.
But mine came out real, like.
You just got it dead on, right? Check it. Do you have any money on you?
0 faces.
Let me see. Take that.
One face near bottom edge 2 feet away.
So remember, if you're impaired, if you're sight impaired, you got to know what your money is you're given, right?
$1 US. $1 US.
It already got it. $1 US.
dollar.
You got another one in there?
Yes. I got $5.
Let's do that. Let's put it upside down.
$5 US.
I really don't know.
You're like, I'm gonna try more. Watch this. This is cool. Scene.
Scene preview. Processing. A desktop computer sitting on top of a desk.
Wow.
So it seems to me that it's pretty much into objects, like
To black hair.
Processing. A group of people sitting at a desk.
Group of people sitting at a desk.
Why was it on a desk? It was on a chair.
Isn't that wicked?
I didn't know that.
Wow, that's
Now,
cool.
I would never expect for you to be able to create something like this. Not in this amount of time. Am I clear?
Yes.
There's just no way. Not going to happen. But you could do, there's different frameworks you could do. Like if you wanted to do a game, an AI game in Android, you could use like the Unity framework to do that. They have augmented reality in there. There are other frameworks to do augmented reality. Android has its own augmented reality toolkit built in. Remember, Google's really big on augmented reality. Apple's really big on it. Microsoft's really big on it. Facebook bought Oculus for billions of dollars. I think they're invested in augmented and virtual reality. So there are development kits and within it, software development kits and frameworks to be able to do augmented reality if you want to do that. It could be something simple, right? It could be a game, it could be identify something. You don't even have to do that. You could do something else. But I throw that out. I want you to pick something you're going to enjoy even after the class is over. I want you to pick something that maybe can benefit you, maybe can benefit your family, benefit a group of individuals. Because I know we live in a frightening world, apparently, but when you consider the mortality rate of children is way down, when you consider the vaccinations and how it's helped, is we're living in a much better time than we ever have any point in history. So let's continue to do good and stop focusing on the bad. Right? So I want you to pick something, no matter how basic it is, that you think is going to be fun. Right? That you're going to want to continue, and you would be proud enough when you're sitting in front of an employer and they say, well, show me something you've done. You'd be like, well, check this out. Right? Because this is about building a portfolio too. It could be something that goes out and scrapes information off of and displays it for you. I had a person did an air quality. I didn't even know they measured air quality. They measure air quality, and he found out all the stations across the nation, and he scraped the information off and put it into a nice, useful user interface. And where people use it is like runners use it all the time. What's the air quality out like right now? I don't want to go running right now because it's bad air quality. Now up here it's not too bad, most of the time. What's the air quality? Good. It's almost always good around here. I mean, it's a rarity, it's bad. It's going to get really, really hot and really, really humid for it to be bad right now. You get the idea. I want you to think about what your minimum, optimal, and utopian levels of implementation is going to include. What is my bare minimum that I'm going to implement? Because I'm going to hold you to your bare minimum. Now, don't worry, I'm going to guide you. If you say, well, the bare minimum is I'm going to do this, I'm going to be like, no, you're not. Right? What's the optimal and utopian levels? What features do you plan on using and how will you leverage them? Meaning, what features from the Android device or the iOS device? All those different sensors you have access to, the augmented reality, the voice recognition, so on and so forth. If you're going to use the gyroscope, the accelerometers, whatever you're going to use, if you're going to use the compass. If you're going to use it, what are the things that are going to contribute and add value to your device?
Can I also use the flashlight?
If it's going to add value. There's a lot of things you can do. You don't want to just do it to do it. It's like anything else. We decide what is going to add value to our overall project, and we use those things. I do want you to plan on tying into an external database. So you got a database built in to Android, right? But I want you to tie into an external database in some way with whatever you're doing. No matter how simple it is, I just want you to do that. It's just kind of one of those quirky things that I want you to do. Right? By the way, we record everything anymore. Every little detail we record, because you never know what kind of information it is. What features do you, I already talked about that. External database, internal database. How are you going to use each one of these uniquely? Maybe with internal, you're going to do profiles and store different things. And the external is going to be a backup, or it's going to pull other information. I'm just going to pull other information from that external database, something like that. Again, I know we only got 6 weeks. But if you start the process knowing that it's something you're going to enjoy and you've always wanted to do because you got this killer idea, great. That's what I want you to do. Usability study is going to be the same thing. You're going to plan a usability study. You're going to read those studies that I put up there for you to read. Start doing some of the usability stuff. I'll guide you through the rest of the overall usability. But this is about, I want to go out and I want to pick a site, an app, or another interface. It could be a game that you like, but it could be tweaked kind of thing. Here's the deal. You don't want to pick a whole website. You don't want to pick a whole game. I'm going to do a usability study on Halo. No, you're not. You're one individual. You don't have a team, and you got 6 weeks. You don't even have 6 weeks. You saw that.
It's
Right.
already running.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You don't even have 6 weeks because some of it's due sooner than others. Because the reason I stagger the big projects is I got to grade all this stuff, right? So I stagger it. You turn it in, I grade it. You turn it in, I grade it, and then it all works out. And I'm the one stressed at the end. If it makes you feel better, I'm the one stressed at the end. The biggest mistake students make is they choose an entire website. You want to find a portion or a tool and do your usability study on that. You're going to build a script for a person to walk through, right? And you're going to guide them through that. I would like you to sit down and find this product. Now add it to the cart. Now change your address so it ships somewhere else. And you would do that to 15 or 20 people. And then you're collecting data about that. Well, how comfortable was that? Was it easy to do? Right? Be careful picking sites like Amazon. Amazon has teams of usability experts. All they ever do is sit around and test new features. And that new feature is not integrated into Instagram or Twitter or Amazon or whatever until it's been thoroughly tested to make sure that it is easy to use. Avoid those sites because it's going to be tough to find anything wrong with it. But if there's other stuff that you're like, man, that's clunky. Every time I use that, that's just weird. Why does it have to be that way? I'll give you an example. Spotify. You guys use Spotify? As big as Spotify is, do you find it difficult to add things to a playlist? Why is it they put a plus symbol, but with the plus symbol, I can't always add that to my playlist? That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Check it out next time you're in. Sometimes you can. Sometimes you can. Sometimes you can't.
I mean, I know the only time that you cannot is if you are like a free user, like if you don't have like premium.
I got premium.
So it can be any website.
Any website, any app, any game, any program. It's got to be a computer,
That will keep you. You got it.
right? Got to be a computer. Oh, here. Oops. Look. Why did I hit the plus symbol? I hit the plus symbol when I was in my library. That's stupid. I gotta hit the dot, dot, dot. If I hit the dot, 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 then I got add to playlist. That's very counterintuitive to me. In here, there's no place I can add it.
So
Weird.
what about the same?
What's that?
What about the same? If you hit, okay, now.
Well, it's the flight. Remember, mine's about the plus symbol. If you hit,
Oh, okay, by the plus symbol, not shown everywhere, right?
weird. They have cleaned it up some over the years, but very counterintuitive to me. What instruments do you plan to use to help complete the study? You're going to read both of those studies. I'm going to help you with it, right? You're going to read both of those studies. How are you going to collect your data? How are you going to present your data? All right, there's some sections in the book you have. What are our hypotheses about what you'll discover when you conduct the study? I want you to think about that now. I hypothesize that users will generally have problems adding an item to the cart. I hypothesize users in general have problems finding the profile. It's literally that small. Because you're going to sit down with 10, 15, 20 people, and you're going to walk through this script. You're going to ask them for 5 or 10 minutes each to walk through it. You're going to ask them questions as you go. You're going to observe them. And then you're going to write up all your results and what you found. Okay? I'll see you tomorrow, guys. We're 15 minutes over. I don't want to use your time too much. Here, I'll quickly go over one other thing. Let me see. Discussions. There's that video embedded right in there for you. So let me see. Web accessibility. So watch this video. There's that video on peer-reviewed scholarly papers, right? You're going to go out and you're going to find, preferably an academic paper. But if you find a popular article, that's fine, as long as it's about web accessibility and written by somebody that is knowledgeable and not just some English guy. Create a new thread and post the article or attach the paper. And what you're going to do when you create that thread, you're going to reply to this discussion. So you come in here and just down here at the bottom, you click on reply. And it's a little bit different than Blackboard. If you use discussion board and Blackboard, I actually like the discussion boards in Blackboard much better than I do here.
I think that's what it is.
I don't know what it is. Hopefully they'll fix it eventually. So you're going to read that article, and then you need to write a summary/review in 500 to 600 words. By the way, that's about a page. That's not a lot. That's a page, single-spaced again. You're going to talk about the strengths of the paper, weaknesses of the paper. Typically, if it's peer-reviewed, you're not going to find any weaknesses when it comes to like grammar and syntax. So when you think of weaknesses, you need to think about where they didn't really highlight this like they should have, or they left this out. It's difficult to do in the beginning, but this is what happens when you actually do a peer-reviewed journal article. If you ever are involved in this process, these are the things that you do, because you're more of an expert at this point. I get you're not experts right now. In any of this, you're never going to be experts. So your weaknesses are probably going to be weak weaknesses, and your strengths are probably going to be weak strengths, in my eyes. But that's okay, because it's about learning this process. It's about learning to try to express what are some weaknesses, what are some strengths, right? Discuss how this topic relates to your current and future profession. So I want you to take, a little bit of time, a paragraph, and talk about, web accessibility is kind of important because no matter what way you cut it, even if you don't want to do web development, you're going to be part of that process. Even if you're nothing but back end, even if you're nothing but working on the Java client or the Python client or whatever, you're still going to tie into the web front end in some way, shape, or form. Everything is being rendered through it anymore. So how does it tie in to your current or future? Do you guys work in computer science right now? Do you work?
Teaching assistant.
Okay, so what did you do before?
I was GE for computer science, 240.
Well, no, but before you came to us, what did you do?
Electrical electronics engineering.
Okay, so you did electrical engineering. Did you work in that field?
No.
Okay, so with EE, they can take a page or 3 from us as far as some of this stuff, right? With EE, they should be starting to save everything off of the different things that they're doing. Do you low voltage or high voltage?
I'm sorry?
Were you low voltage or high voltage?
High voltage.
You were high voltage? So you did like the 220, 440, 880?
Yes.
So all of those big, huge transformers, as they step it down and everything, should all have sensors on it. That all needs to be visualized and can be put into a web interface.
Step up or step down transformer.
See what I'm saying? All that stuff should be taken care of and visualized. So how can it relate to your current or future profession? That's due by, part 1's due by Wednesday. Then on Thursday, you go in and you review 3 threads, right? As you come across something you like, you put a little under review in there. If you come across any combination of under review or actual reviews, you move on to another paper. You read the paper, you read the summary, is it correct? You give them feedback, right? And then you're going to read the paper, address any issues you see with the author's summary in a polite, informative, constructive manner. No, I think you missed this,
Constructive,
right? I think you misread this part, Give them good feedback and answer the questions they posed. Because up there you're supposed to formulate 3 questions about the topic for your peers to answer. So you're going to be out there answering, reviewing, and answering, and that's how that works. Sound good?
Yes, sir. They also have to read it. They also have to read it too.
Yep. So my recommendation is this. Between today and tomorrow, since you have access to me tomorrow, try to pick out your 3 proposals. Try to get the topics rolling on that, and maybe just blurt out a rough draft, just to get your mind rolling, right? The other thing I would do is I would pick that out and kind of start getting that started. That's what I would do between today and tomorrow during class. And then that'll give you the opportunity to ask me other questions to refine stuff, and then you can get it all posted and everything. Sound good? Okay. I'm not one for really telling you how to study. Not at this level. The only thing I want to say is you need to probably be putting 6-7 hours a day in for the next while.
6 weeks is not 6 weeks.
It's not 6 weeks anymore, and it's not. 6 weeks isn't 6 weeks. So you're right. You got it, because some of this stuff is due as early as August the 5th. Right there. That's 4 weeks away.
Wow.
But that's why it's staggered. All right.